What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the ControllerCast. My name is John. I'm joined here today by Andrew and Ursel. Parker won't be joining us this morning. But let's start off with, as tradition, entails, going into how we're doing. I'll start us off. So this week was pretty chill for me, but my wife, Casey, started her new job. So
Your
that's
wife.
super exciting. Yes. I figured I'd say the my wife part for the listeners. I mean, if you've listened to our pod up to this point, though, you know who she is. But Casey started her new job. She's enjoying it a lot. She'll be a para-professional resource teacher at an elementary school. So she'll be able to work with kids and work with the staff to make sure pretty much everything's running smoothly. Besides that, we've been playing a lot of games on the PS5. You heard about my Spider-Man fiasco last week, so we didn't finish that, but we did finish watching the rest of it via YouTube cutscene videos. So we did that. Played God of War a ton. That game is amazing. It looks amazing on PS5, especially with the 60 frames per second. Besides that, I'm trying to think. I mean, we went to a baseball game last night, hung out with some friends this weekend. But besides that, it was pretty chill. What about you, Ursel? I know you've got some stuff going on. You're out of town actually right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, by the way, John, you better not pull that classic play half of a game and then drop it, John.
No,
With
no, no,
God of
no.
War.
We're gonna finish God of War. I promise. We're already like 13 hours in.
Holy crap, that's crazy. But it's good that you're liking it because it's definitely one of a kind. But anyways, yeah, so I'm out of town, just visiting my cousins, living like a local here in Los Angeles. I came here midweek and I'm gonna stay here through into a few days of next week, I guess. And yeah, nothing really that crazy on my end. Oh, I got a cat. Um he
Duh.
is
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he I'm actually it's kind of funny how the timing worked out because Andrew, I know you're also about to probably, I mean, Andrew, spoilers, is also, I think, gonna be getting a cat.
Yeah, on Monday.
So yeah, so that's kind of funny, like just the close timing of that. But yeah, the cat's name is Leo. Cats, I feel like don't really even respond to their names though, so I also call him Mr. Chonky, because he is a golden cat, but is a fat ass. He's super big, but super
Garfield.
cuddly. Yeah, literally Garfield. He's literally Garfield. But he's super lovey and cuddly, and when he purrs, he sounds like a car engine.
Leo
And
DiCaprio.
Leo DiCaprio. That's awesome. But yeah, you guys will probably see the cat one way or another. You guys being Andrew and I was about to say Andrew and Parker, Andrew and John. So, like maybe I'll bring him to Omaha. Not this next time because I still want him to get used to like my apartment and that environment because they need like a few weeks to a few months to really adapt to that. But yeah, that's kind of been my week. What about you, Andrew?
Yep, this week has been we've been cat searching all week. So my girlfriend Jordan wanted a cat for her birthday, which was in July. But with all the vacations we took at the end of July, we just decided to wait until we got back. Because I was in Colorado last week. Hence my absence on the podcast. So so we were just cat shopping all week. We bought all the supplies and stuff. We just need the food and the cat. So getting that tomorrow on my lunch break. So hopefully by tomorrow night we'll have a new member in the family. His name's Alfie. He's a brown, I don't remember what kind of cat he is, but I mean you guys saw the picture of him, so you guys know what he looks like.
There's so many cat names.
And
breeds.
he's like 4 months old, so we're thinking about changing the name, but Jordan's not really sold on Alfie. I don't really care. I'm just gonna call him Kitten anyways. So
Yeah. They don't.
Little
Yeah,
cat.
they don't respond to their names that well like dogs do.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
But yeah, last week I was in Colorado. We got back on Thursday night after driving the worst 9-hour drive in American history. And yeah,
Boring.
we're back and ready to go. I got my graduate degree classes start next Monday, so
King shit.
yeah, so should be good, or things are on the up and up, hopefully.
Let's go. Good deal. Well, I mean, that was how we were doing. We don't have a current events this week. The news was a little bit light this week, so we're actually going to go straight into our main topic. And this week we're going to be doing another top 5. It's going to be a little bit different. So we're actually going to have Andrew run through all of his, and then like maybe I or Ursel will go through all of ours, and then the last person will go through all of ours, and then we'll discuss throughout. But we'll go ahead and kick it right off with Andrew's number 5, top 5 most overrated media, TV, music, video game, movie, doesn't matter. But what's your top 5, number 5 most overrated?
Is this in order, Andrew?
thing?
Yeah, this is in order.
So like
I
you're
I
the
have an
number
order
one
to mine as well.
No, I'm doing
So
number
then-
5. I'm doing it reverse, 5-1.
Yes.
So 5 is the most overrated.
No, the least overrated out of the top 5 overrated.
Okay, so you're
So
okay,
like
okay.
the number 1 is what I think is the most overrated.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
So
hear it.
number 5, John got a little teaser last night when they played a ton of this bullshit at the baseball game we were at. So my number 5, I wasn't really able to come up with a specific name for it, but me and Jordan heard a shit ton of this stuff on Sirius XM while we were driving to and from Colorado. So I put middle-aged white people songs like Billy Joel, Journey, and Bon Jovi. I think that music all sucks ass, and
era.
a lot of people, mainly people from the 80s, think that stuff is like some of the greatest of all time. Anytime that shit comes on the radio, that's an auto skip for me. That stuff is not good. I think those songs are incredibly cliche, and I don't know if it's because I've heard them too much in my life to appreciate them anymore, or if I just get annoyed by like the existence of bands like that, or I just get annoyed that people at like social events like sing these songs like they're like gospel, like
Margaritaville.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like you hear like the Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, and like white people just like cry singing that shit like at like weddings and stuff. And
I have
like,
a question,
this
Andrew.
is the worst. Yeah.
Would you include Elton John and Rocket Man?
Maybe,
Man? I'm a Rocket Man.
Maybe Rocket Man, but he has a lot of like good. So after Rocket Man, the movie came out, I listened to a lot of his music that was like not as popular, and I mean I think he makes good music, so I didn't throw him in there.
Yeah, would you include Queen in this?
Yeah, I mean any, and it's not the artist mainly, it's mainly like their specific popular songs, like Bohemian Rhapsody. I can't stand that song. I'm like, bro, like I've heard this song like 9 million times in my life, and I'm like 23. I don't need to hear this song ever again.
Yeah, I can sing that song back to back.
So that one was kind of generalized. I mean, that was kind of a bullshit number 5, but I was like the whole trip, me and Jordan, like every time we turn on the 80s station or like rock classic or whatever, I'd be like, oh my God,
So like really 80s music, that's your
popular 80s music is overrated.
I was going to say, if you were to pick one artist out of the ones that you mentioned, what do you think would be the most overrated artist? Because I actually think I know your answer.
Journey, for sure.
Journey, yeah. I was going to say Billy Joel.
It's either Billy Joel or Journey. They both are like tied for like the suckiest, in my opinion.
I can. It's funny because I totally agree with you in that like there's this certain type of music, you know, that like that high school football game music that they're playing, like
Yeah.
it's like, dude, it just like reeks of like beer belly, tractor hat, cornfield. I don't know. I don't know. I feel
No,
like
Yeah. No,
absolutely
I
though.
know what
No,
you
you've
mean.
got
I know
it
what you mean,
spot
dude.
on.
Like,
It's just
Spot
like
on.
music that I know, like if it came on at me and Jordan's wedding someday, that like every white person there would just be like on the dance floor, like screaming the lyrics to these songs. I mean, I won't let them put those songs on the list. No shot. But
I just had this like vivid picture of like just what I was just describing. It's just this family man who hates his life. You know, he goes home and just like hates his whole family. But whenever he's at that high school football game, whenever they play Journey, his life he his life
It
just
just
brightens up.
turns around.
Yeah. He finds hope in that singular moment.
he like straightens his like shirt and like straightens his belt buckle. He's like, life's on the up and up, brother.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's like that's what I think of like now when yeah. But also, you know what I think of when I hear those songs? I think of Guitar Hero.
True.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
there's a lot of those songs on Guitar Hero, and I think that kind of ruined them for us too.
Yeah.
yeah,
Between the
you're
Had a
right.
hand
radio
in
and
it.
yeah. Okay. Let's move on to number 4. This one, I'm gonna put this one at number 4 just because I don't have that much justification. But my number 4 most overrated is a movie. It
Let's
was
hear it,
nominated
buddy.
for. It was. I'll give you a couple hints, and I think you'll get it right away. It was nominated for Best Picture, even though it's a fucking superhero movie that wasn't really that good. So it's Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
Okay. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. It was a good movie. The reason I put it as overrated is because it was nominated for Best Picture. It was not anywhere near Best Picture quality. Like, I mean, it was a good movie, but I mean, like, Jesus, man, it was not like it's not. I don't know, something about it's like not as good. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but like I saw it twice, and the second time after I got done watching it, I was like, I don't really like this movie that much actually. Like I think the soundtrack made it really good, and I think it is a good movie, but I think it was overrated on the basis that it was nominated for Best Picture.
I think the
Well,
plot is bland
It is. It's very
in that
generic.
movie. Yeah.
what is it? Well, since I mean, there's not really like since there's no order to the list. I feel like I don't know if it would be a spoiler in saying that that is also on my list.
Oh no!
Oh,
If any of these are on somebody else's list, go for it.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is it on your list, John?
No, actually not, but
Okay,
that would
but
have been a
okay.
good one.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Andrew. Where I think I was actually talking with my cousins about this last night. That it's like to me, it's a crime that this film got nominated for Best Picture,
Yes, it's
and and
awful.
like and because I was talking to my cousins about this, like it was specifically a conversation about like The Dark Knight, and we're just fanboying, another one of those moments about fanboying over how great that movie is, and they were shocked to hear from me that The Dark Knight was not nominated for Best Picture, but Black Panther was, because when you say that out loud, it's just like insane. Like like because Black Panther isn't even, first off, it's not even like it's not like widely regarded as like the best Marvel movie or anything.
Yeah, and how many
No,
Marvel
it's
movies have been up
mid-tier.
for Best Picture? Like, not very many. Like,
None.
none besides Black
Wait,
Panther, right?
it's that for comic book movies?
For Marvel
No,
movies.
for Marvel.
Oh yeah, that is the only one. Like,
Bro,
what?
and it's not even the best Marvel movie. Like, what the fuck?
Like not even Iron Man 1 or Endgame or anything like Black
Yeah,
Panther.
yeah,
Black Panther is a
and
mid-tier Marvel movie in
and
my
I mean,
opinion.
I'm not gonna you know don't take this the wrong way, anyone. And I want everyone to know I'm a left-leaning person. But like I do feel, and I think everyone can agree with this to some extent.
I think I'm going to agree with what you're about to say.
I think that the reason that movie was nominated for Best Picture was around a time where there's that Oscar so white kind of controversy going on. And I think the Academy felt pressure to nominate that film because it had an all-black cast. And I mean, like that, I think that's even more of a disservice when you think about it, like for a film like that, like because it feels so
forced.
It feels so forced and it feels like so like transparently like opportunistic. Like, hey, hey, look at us. We nominated the like all black superhero film. Like, we're good now, right? And it's like,
right.
Like I don't like. I mean, Black Panther. Like I guess it was definitely a cultural event, but like I feel like Endgame was more. Like I feel like I don't know. Like like maybe it's just me, but like I mean, I know there's a lot of people that love Black Panther, but it just feels strange when there's definitely been much better superhero films. Not even just even in the MCU. And they haven't been nominated for Best Picture. It's like why was it Black Panther?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I agree. I think it was a cop out by the Academy, but
and that's more of an attack on the Academy, not like the film.
Yeah, no, and I think
it's still like, a great film.
I think diverse movies like that should be celebrated, but I don't think they should be put up there just because they're diverse. Like they should like I feel like yeah, it's cool that you get nominated, but if it's on that basis, it kind of like takes away. It's like, okay, well, you just picked it because it was diverse, not because we made like an actual like best movie of the year
masterpiece. Yeah,
because you're trying to showcase like excellence.
Yeah,
like
I'm not a minority, but I might feel disrespected if that happened to me. But anyways,
yeah, like it was like a token award, like oh hey, congrats, like.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't win. Thankfully, I would have lost my shit if it would have won. But okay. So my third one is another movie. It was at the top of the box office for an extremely long time. And it's fucking Avatar.
This is also on my list.
Nobody remembers.
This is also on my list.
Nobody remembers a goddamn thing about that stupid fucking movie. And
generic villain.
And it was a top grossing movie of all time until Endgame, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And now it's the top grossing again.
Is it really?
Because they re-released it in China and it made like
Jesus.
some extra money, and now it's number one again.
Okay, well, Avatar fucking sucks. That movie is overrated because nobody remembers a fucking thing. Yet it is the top grossing movie of all time, and and the fact that you keep seeing this shit like, oh, James Cameron's done writing Avatar 5. I'm like, who the fuck asked for a fifth Avatar? Let's get to 2 and see how shit that movie is first before we skip to 5, bro. Like that movie's gonna suck ass. Like all due respect to James Cameron, but the Avatar franchise fucking sucks, dude. Like it's so lifeless. Like the fact that like it can be the top grossing movie of all time, and nobody fucking remembers a thing about that movie. Do you even know what the main character's name was?
No. I have no idea. It was some dude that got turned into an Avatar guy, and the villain was the guy that turned him into the Avatar guy, right? I don't even remember. It's so generic. I remember the villain, though, being like the most generic ass white angry man that's in a mech suit. It's like
the most generic shit. I like how the world just collectively has this like gap in their brain with like what the plot of Avatar is or anything regarding it. All I just remember is the villain in a mech suit and watching it when I was like 10 and thinking how ridiculously stupid this looked. And then blue people having sex.
And it's not like it's like a culturally irrelevant movie because like it was like that, like the dawn of the 3D era, and like the visual effects are insane, but like it's just like such a fucking shit movie. Like the actual
funny to
movie
see how
is
popular
shit.
3D is today.
Yeah,
not at all.
Like I'm gonna blame the downfall. I'm gonna blame the downfall of 3D on fucking Avatar because that movie stunk.
Like remember when 3D TVs were a thing? Like we've got one. My parents have a 3D TV, but we've barely used it.
Yeah.
barely
PS
used the 3D functionality.
I remember the PS3 had 3D TV.
Yeah, it had
like 3D
stereoscopic
functionality.
Yeah, like Uncharted 3 had 3D function.
Yeah. I actually remember I played Uncharted 3 in 3D. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
It's
like
kind of a stinky game. That's for another time.
That's a hot take.
No, but
Yeah.
okay, so Avatar is on all of our lists. So me and Arsal have two already that have overlapped. I figured there'd be a little overlap here.
I wouldn't be
I figured
surprised.
there would be too.
I wouldn't be surprised if I think 3 out of my 5 items will overlap with
and
you guys.
I think maybe my last two there might be one of might have overlap. I think the first one I don't think there's going to be any overlap.
Well, John, did you want to say anything about Avatar?
Yeah, I mean, basically what I was going to say is just that it's such a generic plot, and that the best thing that the movie really has going for it is its visuals. But for me, other than the visuals, there's nothing else redeeming about the movie. Like when it came out, yes, it was incredible what they were able to pull off. And even a lot of movies today can't do what Avatar did with special effects, but like it's so generic. The plot is stupid and unforgettable, not
Very
unforgettable.
forgettable.
It's very, very forgettable. But that was mainly what I was going to say, other than, what you guys mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Avatar's
like
a stinker.
The way you can tell if society doesn't collectively like a movie is every time there's news about the new Avatar movie, the entire Twitter trending page is just people going, "Who the fuck asked for this? Like nobody asked for this fucking movie." And like when
It
the
could have just
discourse
been
is
a
that
one and
bad-
done thing.
Well, and dude, it's been 11 years since that movie came out. You do not need to make a sequel. Like nobody even remembered that movie existed until you look at like Box Office Mojo once a year, and you're like, "Oh, Avatar fucking exists." Like,
Come on, James Cameron, make a sequel to Titanic, my
Dude,
man.
the whole
make
movie,
a Titanic sequel.
The whole movie just like belongs on that Twitter page called what's it called? Like the Horny Police. Like that entire movie is just like this main character is just so horny he turns into an avatar to fuck. Like
it's absolutely like
it's a lifeless movie. And the fact that it's like, dude, like just think of every great movie that has grossed less than that movie and just like try not to fucking jump off your balcony.
I feel like it's a classic example of like weird characters that a lot of weird men think are attractive, and that's the reason that the movie's popular. It's like they're all half naked the entire movie.
Yeah, it's just like softcore Smurf porn. Like
yeah.
Well, the movie is essentially, first off, like with the movie itself, it's essentially just Dances with Wolves, but blue people. Like I don't know if either of you guys have seen Dances with Wolves.
I haven't,
but I'm aware of it.
Yeah, it's a movie that came out in the 90s, and it's literally the same plot as Avatar, except it's involving like Native Americans and like colonists. You can just copy and paste. It's the same story. But and then with the sequels, like this must be like the biggest gamble I think I've ever seen Hollywood take, because it's like, dude, they made one movie and then they have literally filmed the next 4 films already. Think about this: all 4 films are done filming. Avatar's 2 through 5. We haven't even seen the second one, and the 5th one is done. Like, and these movies are supposed to come out like year, like Lord of the Rings, like 1 year after the next, after the next, after the next. Like, bro, the Disney Star Wars films, people literally got sick of that shit. Like Star Wars, like Solo Story, right? Or that's what it was called. Solo, a Star Wars story. Jeez.
Yeah.
Like
how dare you?
Like that's Star Wars, and that bombed. Like that bombed at the box office, and it's like, do you think Avatar is going to be like chugging hard by the 5th film? Like, is anyone that invested in this is Star Wars? Is Avatar 5 going to be chugging that far, that hard at the end? Is anyone that invested? Yeah, anyone going to be that invested?
I sincerely doubt it.
When the general discourse is like, we don't need this, it's not going to do good. Like, I have never seen more people say we don't need a sequel than a fucking Avatar sequel.
Yeah. That's crazy. 5 movies that are already made.
Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
All right. My number 2, speaking of recycling bullshit, we're going to I'm trying to make this like I feel like it's too general. No, fuck that. Sports video games made by EA. Fuck them. They all fucking suck. They're all Parker, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, but dude, you even said it. Madden fucking sucks. Like EA just reskins the same game every fucking year because they've had this release schedule forever. And then because their investors are so tied up in wanting EA to make money off of microtransactions and fucking just doing the bare minimum, they just reskin it as a new year, fucking send it out, and they're like, yep, there we go, Madden 22, baby. Like,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Fuck FIFA, fuck Madden. I don't even know what other games EA makes, but fuck all of them. Like, if you have a general release schedule, like a year, like even you could throw 2K in there, even though it's not really made by EA. But come on, bro. Like,
2K is my favorite out of the sports games.
Sports games that come out every year, like if you buy like one and play it for a while, like I think the last good EA game that they cared about was probably like Madden 16, maybe, when they actually had to like make it next gen only. That was like probably like the biggest upgrade, or I guess current gen at that time. Like when it made the jump to PS4 and Xbox One, I feel like that was like the last time they ever gave a shit.
Yeah, and I have Madden 17. And I've played Madden 21 and 22, not 22 yet, but Madden 21 and 20 with Parker. And Madden 17 is the same damn game. It's just the players are
bullshit,
different.
Dude. It's
the
bullshit.
Same damn game. Like they'll change how many fumbles happen and shit like that. It's just stupid. It's so
and that's
stupid.
What makes me like extremely worried about like now that EA is reviving like the college football games. I'm like, oh, fuck. Can you like give it to like a different company? Can like I can't even think of a sports company that doesn't make bullshit ass games. So that's
I can't think of one that would. I can't think of another company that would be able to do it.
The reality is, like sports games, the ideal like infrastructure and setup for these games is they release one game, just like Madden or NBA 2K or whatever, and that game is a platform that they just keep updating annually. Like it's just one game that's like Fortnite or something, or Grand Theft Auto Online. Like it's just one game that they continuously update. But
they won't do that because why would you do that when you can make $60 every year off the same schmucks?
Yeah. And I'm gonna put Parker on blast here, everyone. So I kind of left this out of my how am I doing section, right? What is it? So I've actually gotten back into Destiny 2, and I was telling these guys about it, and I was saying, hey, like maybe you guys could try getting back into it. It's a really good game now. And Mr. Parker Tedrow here, okay, comes in with the most reductionist view, like yeah, you go in room, shoot thing, go into next room, shoot next thing. And first of all, you can pretty much break any game or anything down into that. Like right. I don't know,
like Mario.
God of War. Yeah,
run down path, jump on turtle, end.
Yeah, but specifically, this is more egregious because Parker specifically plays 2 games where you just literally do the same thing. Like Madden is the same thing every game. Like
Rocket League and Madden. Yep.
Like, come on, buddy. Like, I'm gonna tell you to you better watch this because I'm calling you out. Madden is the same shit every year. I don't get it. But I wish Parker was here for this because, I don't know how he put so much time into it. That's the craziest part.
To be fair, he doesn't buy them every year. He has EA Game Pass Pro, so he just gets
I know that.
And I would also say, to be fair, that to have the updated online community and stuff, you do have to get the new game. And imagine if Rocket League, for Andrew and I or Parker, if Rocket League had a re-release every year where it was a reskinned game, but the online community moved to the new game every year. I mean, I see it. I see the reason for playing the new one, but like it's just the same shit every year. And Madden and EA themselves needs to get that like under control. Like the next Madden, just make it Madden. Just make it next gen only. Make it Madden, and every year you have an update for it, and you have new shit that people can spend microtransaction money on. I don't know, but the way they're doing it is money grubbing for sure. And that entire, yeah, that would be an honorable mention for me, but it wasn't in my list. Highly overrated.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Number 2, Andrew?
No, this is number 1. That was number 2.
Oh, wait. Okay.
I had middle-aged music, Black Panther, Avatar, sports games. And speaking of games that are unfinished dog shit, my number 1 overrated game is, can you guess?
I'm actually not 100% sure on this one.
Unfinished?
Unfinished, missing content.
Cyberpunk?
Missing content, etc.
Cyberpunk?
No. It is the good old quarantine banger Animal Crossing. New
Horizons. Duh.
Oh,
that
dang.
game.
How could I not figure that out?
I so quickly fell in and out of love with that game. That game is the second highest selling game of all time on the Switch at like 35 million copies, which is fucking insane, first of all. It is still incredibly popular in the AC community. But for me, it's missing so much stuff from like just the 3DS, like a fucking handheld one that was $35, bro. Come on. And it's missing so much shit from the 3DS version. You can make a whole new fucking Animal Crossing game with the missing content, and it would be the exact, like, just as good as the one on Switch. Like, it's missing so much, and there's like no replayability. And even as like a pretty dedicated Animal Crossing fan, like I don't even remember the last time I put more than like 2 minutes into the game and in a play session. Like
it just seems like
it's so empty and lifeless.
Yeah,
and it has none of the charm of the older games. The music sucks. It has none of the like cool, like interesting stuff of the old game. Like the one on 3DS had like a city. Like you could go on like a main street of like a concrete city, and like where there's shops and everything. And like I'm just like, dude, like I turn it on and I look at it and I'm like, this game sucks. And then I turn it right back off. Like I try so hard to love
I wanted
this
to
game.
enjoy that game. I wanted to get into the Animal Crossing hype. I wanted to so bad.
Same, John. Same.
I got into it very hard during COVID just because there's nothing else to do. And then once everything like stuff started opening back up, I was like, there's no reason I need to play this game ever again. Like
it's just there's nothing to do. Like, okay, if you really like decorating stuff that much, then okay, it's pretty fun. But if you want any more depth than that, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the only motivation to do anything in the entire game is to make your island look cute.
Look cool. Yeah.
And the reason
I feel like I got to that point 30 hours in and I was like, okay, bye.
And like the reason I played it so much was to do like the holiday stuff. But the holiday stuff only goes for like so far because you do 1 year the holiday stuff, you've done all of them. And there's like no other like content to bring you back in the game. It sucks.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's my number 1. I think it's
Animal
overrated.
Crossing is bland, and I'm surprised I didn't mention it in my list. But I've got some blandos in there for sure.
Yeah.
So my honorable mentions, I'll go through a few that didn't make the list, but I think are close. Gran Turismo franchise.
Absolutely.
The actual game console that you play, my number 1 on the Nintendo Switch.
Ooh,
that would have missed
that
Steam
hurts.
Talk.
I feel like I could have guessed that.
Yeah.
The Switch is kind of overrated.
I just have like,
we don't overrate it. We don't.
Yeah.
But
I was just gonna say, so just real quick for the audience, Andrew has some obligations to get to, so he won't be on for the second half of the cast this week, but we're gonna go through Ursul's top 5 then, and then we'll lastly go through mine. And Andrew might just miss some of the conversation around my top 5, but we already had a couple overlaps. So Ursul, did you want to start off with your number 5 then?
Yeah. And yeah, I guess ending on Animal Crossing, I just want to say like that, yeah, like I wish I could get into it, but I couldn't. So like that's kind of the main thing I wanted to say. Like, I don't know why. Like, but
I wanted to join the hype.
Yeah, but
Dude,
maybe
I
next
couldn't
game,
even join the hype.
Don't you have like 300 hours on that game though?
Yeah.
But it could have been 1,000.
But it's been like 300 days since I last played it, so I might equal out.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me do my top 5. It overlaps, and I'm gonna start off probably with the hottest take. And you might not see this one coming, but I'll explain myself. So my first choice, and getting the first 2 out of the way, was Black Panther and Avatar. So now I guess number 3. My number 3 choice is a franchise, and that franchise is Star Wars.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling you were going to mention this.
I think at the end of the day, like, you know, thinking about like, does this deserve like all the fever and the craze and the mania behind it, and like, you know, with like when Star Wars, it's just that to me at the end of the day, I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big Star Wars guy. Empire Strikes Back is like probably like top 10 greatest movies of all time. Not even probably, it is. But I think that at the end of the day, like, I really only feel like less than half of these movies are objectively good. Like, okay, we're looking at 9 of them. Like episodes 1 and 2, not good films in my opinion. 3 is really good. That's actually underrated. And then obviously the original trilogy is good, like 4 and 5, but I actually feel like even Return of the Jedi is like okay. And then obviously the sequel trilogy is kind of ass, like the best one being once again okay. Like one that I'm kind of just indifferent to at the end of the day.
Which one is that?
Probably the like Force Awakens, I would say.
And then, you know what the funny thing about that is? It's just a reskin 4. Like,
yeah. And I mean, like, I guess my distaste of Last Jedi has decreased over time, but like I still think it's like kind of poorly made at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Rogue One, I think, is actually really great. Like Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One, and Episode 3 are my 3 favorites.
Same.
But once you start getting outside of those 3, I have a hard time really saying that I think like any of those movies past that, like besides I guess New Hope as well, really being like, oh, these are like great films. And I get the main draw is really like how deep and fleshed out the universe is. But I don't know. I feel like the mainline movies in particular have never done that lore justice. I feel like some of the more interesting stuff has come from the spin-off stuff, like Rogue One.
And even the video game stuff.
Yeah, even the video games. I feel like
Old Republic.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's really painted in that shades of color for that universe for me. And like specifically, I guess more recently, The Mandalorian. Even though I think even The Mandalorian is a little overrated, but like I think season 2 is way better than season 1. I thought season 1 was so. I thought season 1 was so overrated, but yeah, I don't like in terms of at the end of the day, I just don't think Star Wars kind of deserves all the hype, and that hype being like it's, I guess, before the MCU really being kind of the biggest franchise in the world, because I think most of the time those movies aren't that good. But when they are good, they're fantastic. They're amazing. But most of the time they actually aren't.
I would say like four of the probably 11 canon movies, I would say are great, and the rest are good or below. Like, I think 4, 5, 7, and Rogue One, and 3. Okay. So there's 5 out of the 11 canon Star Wars films that I think are actually like really great. And that's not a lot considering the popularity of Star Wars in general. Like, this franchise, between merchandise and everything, makes more money than probably anything else. And it's,
yeah.
well, Marvel's probably up there at this point, but between merchandise and everything, like, dude, Star Wars makes a killing. I mean, the name is worth multi-billions of dollars. But yeah, I would agree with you, Ursula. It's that I had trouble putting it in my list because I love it so much, but to be honest, yeah, it's overrated.
Yeah, Star Wars is the 5th highest grossing franchise of all time.
Wait, what are the 4
really?
above it? What? Yeah, what are the 4 above
Okay,
it?
so Star Wars is 5, Mickey Mouse and Friends is 4, Winnie the Pooh is 3, Hello Kitty is 2, and
What?
number one is Pokemon.
What?
Wait, about movie franchises. Like, what about movie franchises? Because
that would be number one movie franchise then.
I mean, yeah, Mickey and Winnie the Pooh and Pokemon all have movies, but yeah, definitely not as much. Yeah, it's
and they're not like primarily movie franchise.
Wait. Damn, this is a
get your yaz out of here, Andrew.
Shit fucking list. No, Marvel is the highest grossing box office, but they have way more movies, so that makes sense.
Yeah, they have like more than double the movies.
But yeah, like overall, yeah, Star Wars is the biggest film franchise of all time.
With merchandise and everything. But yeah, overrated. I would agree.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaking thing to say. And I was expecting that to be probably the hottest of takes. But I'm surprised you guys kind of agree with me there. But okay, moving on. This one, okay, I'm going to kind of swap the order. This one, I know you guys probably aren't going to have much to say on it, so I'm just going to kind of get it out of the way. My number 2 most overrated, and mine's not in an order really, is Final Fantasy VII Remake. So this game came out last year and came out to extreme praise. I think it has like an 88 on Metacritic, but very, very highly regarded in the video game community. It's a PlayStation exclusive. And yeah, like this game was, obviously in consideration for Game of the Year from a lot of outlets. I think it won a few, but and it was, in contention with like Animal Crossing, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Hades. And I think it's by far the weakest out of those 5. And it's even, I just don't think it's a very good game, to be honest with you. And I guess I'll give my reasoning why. And I love for people to rebut this because essentially this game is, so if people don't know, Final Fantasy VII Remake is not the entire Final Fantasy VII experience. It is like the first 5 hours of the first game expanded into a 30-hour game. So they took a 5-hour story and expanded it into 30 hours. And like, I've heard people in real life have tried to rebuttal my argument on this, like that, if they had the time back in 1990, like 5 or whatever, and resources, this is how long they would have made that section. And first of all, I would have said that's straight horse shit because like there's so much filler. There's so much filler in this game. Like, go collect like my eggs or something, or like go, it's the dumbest side quest. And then there's so many fucking moments. I've never played a game that has more walking down a long hallway or walking through a small little corner, and you have to go at like the speed of a fucking snail, like just so they can pad out the time as much as they can. You're playing this game and you can feel that this is a 5-hour story that they stretched out to 30 hours. You can feel it the whole way through. And then even up to the gameplay. Like every combat encounter is so obnoxiously drawn out. Each boss fight is like 15 minutes of you just slapping, like just whittling down their health, just spamming X. Like it's not fun. And it's so like it was just a like drag to play. And I will almost always beat what I'm playing just so I can have a full opinion on it. And I was so sick of this game by the end of its run that I dropped it down to easy just so I could beat it. Because I was like, dude, this isn't even hard. I'm literally just sitting here and fighting this boss for 15 minutes, just standing there and pressing the same damn button. And I was like, wait, if I can just lower the difficulty, I can kill him in like 2 minutes. Like, holy shit. So let me just do that because that's more reasonable.
Waste less time.
Yeah, like that'll actually respect my time. And the story is completely like cringe and nonsensical. I don't know. Like the game is probably like a 6 out of 10 for me, like 5 or 6 out of 10. And yeah, I think it's extremely overrated because a lot of people were a lot of people like on like Reddit and stuff would be like, yeah, this is my game of the year. And I'm like, really? Like this? like like okay, like I'm gonna be honest, I had more fun playing Cyberpunk than playing this. And Cyberpunk was broken. But that's my number 2. I know you guys probably don't have too much to say on that, but
yeah, I don't really have a lot to say on it. I was gonna mention Final Fantasy just because I personally think they like look stupid, but I haven't played one. So I actually cannot say. But I'm glad that I know I can avoid Final Fantasy VII Remake at least.
Yeah, but I know I'm definitely in the minority when I say that like in that opinion, like of that game. But Andrew, did you have anything?
No, I mean the only thing I think is people might just like it because they have those nostalgia blinders on.
Yeah, I agree.
They just
Absolutely.
they're like so dedicated to wanting like the remake of their like, favorite Final Fantasy game to be good, and they just can't accept that it sucks.
But yeah, so I wanted to save this one for last because I think it's going to be on John's list, and that'll be a good segue. But
please say it. Please say it. It's gotta be what I think.
Let's go.
Okay,
Let's go.
Now, I don't know, but now I'm kind of unsure. Okay, but my last pick, and I don't know if it's the most overrated, but I definitely think of it a lot when I think of things that are overrated, and that is Super Mario Odyssey.
Yup, this is on my list as well.
Okay, so like let me just kind of give my reasoning for this one. And it really stems from my extreme annoyance with this game's like very high Metacritic score. Specifically
97.
Yeah, specifically this game has a 97 on Metacritic, and also the other reason that high score tied with the other 97 Metacritic game from Nintendo that came out this year. Like, okay, when you have games that are in that echelon, like 95 and above, those games usually leave, I feel like, some sort of impact or legacy on the gaming landscape. Grand Theft Auto 5, clearly we know what that's legacy is.
Yeah.
Like Last of Us, Breath of the Wild, even Grand Theft Auto 4 or Super Mario Galaxy, even which is another Mario game. Like at the time the legacy and impact those games had, or like BioShock or something. But like I don't know, like what is Super Mario Odyssey's legacy? Like what, like 4 years attached? We're not even out of the Switch's life cycle. What is that game's? What is that game's like?
The legacy is that it's the only game on Metacritic that you can divide the score by 10, and that's how long the game is.
But and also it's a criminal. It's absolutely criminal to see that this game has the same Metacritic score as Breath of the Wild, dude. Like Breath of the Wild was barrier breaking, was genre defining, is like a landmark piece of the medium. Like literally, like you cannot talk about games and not talk about Breath of the Wild. Like that game is so important and big deal. And then that has a 97 on Metacritic. And then you have Super Mario Odyssey, like Like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Super Mario Odyssey is a fun game, but like I'm playing through Super Mario 3D World, and I'm having more fun playing through that.
Yeah,
And
me too.
I feel like no
I
one
did too.
Exactly.
Yeah. I did. I will admit I wasn't when I was playing it co-op, but now I'm playing it solo. I'm having a lot more fun of a time. But yeah, like what? Galaxy is way better. 3D World, which no one talks about, in the grand scheme of the Mario series, is better. Yeah, I don't know. And the whole like hype before this game came out was that it was open world.
That was
Yeah.
the biggest thing for
I
me
was
that I was going to
dude,
mention.
I was so
is that-
excited for that game. I
Yes.
bought a Switch for that game, and okay, so here's my experience. I get it the day it comes out, and I'm like, it's like, so I got it like, I don't know, it's whatever time GameStop opened, like 10 or some shit. It's like 2 or 3 p.m. and I'm playing it, and I'm like, damn, like I've gone through like 6 worlds already. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and I like
Right.
beat it in like 2 days. Like, I beat the like base story in 2 fucking days. And I was like,
I only beat the base story. I couldn't even get to 500 moons because it got so generic for me. Like the moon grinding was not fun.
Yeah,
the grinding was not fun. And yeah, that was the biggest thing I was going to mention, is that it was advertised as this big open world Mario game, and it was not that. It was not.
And
like
I wonder
you
if,
have
like,
sections. It's almost less open world than Super Mario Sunshine. It's just not. It's level based. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
almost
not that
wonder
fun either.
if Nintendo knew that, because usually like their consoles launch with like a Mario game, but the Switch launched with a Zelda game, which kind of makes me think like they kind of had a feeling like, not that it'd be overhyped, but I mean, I think they had a feeling that definitely Breath of the Wild was by far going to be the better, more successful game and the better game.
Yeah, and like, it might be that, but I think at the end of the day, it's too short. It's not open world, and like it's a beautiful game.
Yeah, it looks good.
I think it's one of the best platformers out there for like its refinedness. Like it's very refined, but that's its best qualities. I don't think it's very unique compared to other Mario games. I think it's definitely not open world. And the 97 on Metacritic is cheating every other 97 or anything that's above 90 on Metacritic. I would argue that Super Mario Odyssey is an 8.5 or an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's like a strong 8, which is great. Yeah. I think it's a great game.
Yeah, it's a great game.
It's overrated though.
Yeah, but there's a very like yeah, exactly. Like to get into that 9 echelon, there has to be something that's like very above and beyond. And at the end of the day, it was like, oh, I'm playing a very well-made Mario game. And that's kind of like what I walked away with it as. There's never like a maybe New Donk City. Like, I guess maybe that was like a wow moment, but like, I don't know. I was just I felt like I was going through the motions, and like, I felt like there's that maybe like a sense of wonder that was missing with like something like Galaxy. But yeah, and I thought it was really overrated. And I think it's telling, you know, like if you talk to anyone about like even just go online, just go search something up, like best games of the generation. You're gonna see, like I said, Breath of the Wild. You're gonna see God of War, Last of Us, you know, Witcher, Red Dead 2. Like you're gonna see, you know, all these other games first before you ever. You're gonna almost always see probably like 10 games before you see Super Mario Odyssey. Like, and Super Mario Odyssey has a higher Metacritic than every one of those games, or is tied with it.
It's ridiculous. It has the second highest Metacritic score of all time, tied with a lot of other things, but second highest.
Yeah, which is absurd. Like, but yeah, and it's clear. Like this game, I feel like would you guys agree? I feel like 4 years from now, like 4 years since its release, it doesn't really have like a lasting legacy. I feel like no one talks about this game anymore.
I agree 100%.
But that's my list. A little bit of overlap with Andrew, but Andrew, I know you got to probably go now, so I guess we'll go ahead and transition into John's section.
Perfect.
Podcasts and web shows are on the rise, and for good reason. They're great sources of entertainment and can be great listens in multitudes of situations like long drives or intense study sessions. Maybe, just maybe, you have an idea for a show or podcast that you want to put out into the world. Well, lucky for you, it's never been easier to jump into podcasting thanks to the wonderful people at Anchor.fm. Anchor takes care of most of the back-end work of podcasts. No more are the days of coordinating releases on multiple platforms, paying for a podcast hosting subscription to hold your RSS feed, or other hassles. Anchor sets up your podcast on all the major podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple automatically. They even provide sleek and easy-to-use editing tools that can be accessed from your phone or computer to get your podcast to the world through the path of least resistance. Anchor also matches you up with sponsors so that you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and even gives you in-depth stats for your shows like total plays, regions of viewership, as well as what kind of devices your show is being listened on. Here's the best part about all of this. It's free. So what are you waiting for? Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. If you're ready to add your voice and vision to the mix, it's never been easier. And I highly recommend you go the way of Anchor.fm, just like the ControllerCast did. So here you go. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. That's Anchor.fm.
Okay, so actually, before I get into my top 5, Ursel, did you have any honorable mentions or anything you wanted to mention?
Honorable mentions. I didn't even I didn't even think about that. Because I was originally, I was also thinking about doing the Nintendo Switch. But I opted out on that one. I feel like I already shit on the Nintendo Switch enough, and I'm actually going through a period where I'm enjoying it right now because like I'm playing it on vacation. And one thing I don't talk about enough with the Switch is like how many different ways you can play it. Like I brought a Pro controller with me and just the handheld, and I just set it up on the dock, like, with the kickstand, and I play it with the Pro controller. And I'm like, that's like a really good way to play it while you're out and about. So like I've been playing it in my downtime, and I've actually been enjoying it a lot right now. So I didn't want to shit on that little guy too much this week. But
not this week anyway.
And I was also thinking of mentioning Mad Max Fury Road. Because that movie is also another like Best Picture nominated. Like everyone loves film, and I thought it was fine. Like I mean, I thought it was a good action film. Don't get me wrong, but that was also just another situation where I felt like that's where it was at, kind of like a Super Mario Odyssey situation where it's like it's really good at what it's doing, but like I feel like that's all it's good at. It's like a one-trick pony,
Yeah.
That's kind of like the best. So like, and whenever there's a situation like that, I feel like it always kind of gets like, it's kind of like a 8 out of 10 range for me. Like it's great, like it's really great at doing this one thing, but it's not like a really all-encompassing full package to me that like something in the 9 range might be.
Yeah, and I don't think it's industry defining or anything either. Like it's good. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was totally enjoyable. Like, but it's just the whole movie is just like them driving on one road and then turning around.
Right, literally.
And like
so dumb.
And another kind of movie like Avatar where they've been trying to make a sequel, and it's like, okay, like you should probably try to release it soon because I feel like people will just not care at a certain point. But those were kind of my honorable mentions, I guess. But John, go ahead, take it off.
Perfect. So 2 of mine were already mentioned. My number 1, we already talked about, Super Mario Odyssey. That game is highly, highly overrated. And then my number 4 actually was talked about, Avatar. So I did have an order for mine as well. But to get in my number 5, it's a video game. It is I want to say the highest selling video game of all time, below Grand Theft Auto 5. Can you guess?
Minecraft?
Yes.
Really?
And I'm not sure if it's actually ahead of GTA or not, but yeah, Minecraft is definitely overrated for me.
You used to be so big on it. I'm surprised you're putting it on here.
See, I do have a special place in my heart for Minecraft for sure. But I think that the the hype for me died in like 2015 with Minecraft, like my junior year of high school. And I'm 23 years old. Like this game is still huge. It's still huge. And there's a big community still online of people that still care about it. But for me, I think what kind of drew me away from Minecraft was the ridiculous amount of shit they added, and like they made it more in depth. But I think what was special about Minecraft was what it was at the surface in the beginning, and then they added all this wither stuff, and they added like there's just so many different things that they added to the game that I think detract from what made it special in the first place. And it's a great game. Like I'm all for updates and adding stuff. It's fine. But for me personally, this is not like the greatest game of all time or anything. It's it's a great game, and in the beginning it was amazing. It was something different, but I think there's other games that do what Minecraft tried to do a little better. I've put probably 20 hours into Terraria before, and I think Terraria is a lot more fun. Because there's more like objective things to do, which they have added a little bit of that to Minecraft, but I don't think they did it really that well.
The Ender Dragon.
The Ender Dragon, yeah, that like after the end stuff, everything they've added since then has just been like, yeah, it's just been to me, it's been silly. But just for me personally, I think that the hype that surrounds Minecraft even today is just it's a little overrated at this point. I think it was great when it first came out. I think it definitely was industry defining, and it pushed the video game industry forward in some respect, but at this point, I don't know anyone that's rushing out to play Minecraft, and I don't know anyone that even regularly plays it anymore.
I know, but it's weird because it's like I don't know anyone that plays anymore, but it's got still like such a big, specifically like a big YouTube community, you know?
Right.
Minecraft to me was always a game that I think over time, at first I didn't like it at all. But it's become to me a game that I respect and like appreciate more than like I enjoy myself. Like I get its value and its importance in like the zeitgeist of video games, but for me personally, like I want something in a game that like I want an end goal to some extent. Like I want something I can chase in a game, you know, like something I'm working towards in like a multiplayer game or really any game, whether that be a story to finish or, you know, like in
or a new rank.
games, a new rank or like a new item or something getting like that, you know, like that's what keeps me hooked into games. The second that hook or that end goal is gone, then I fall off, you know, like and Minecraft is just a little too and this is I think with like why I couldn't never get into Animal Crossing really is like either that hook wasn't strong enough or I felt like it was just a little too freeform or a little too open-ended, you know, for me to like stay in that loop for an extended period of time. Because it's like, what is it like that? What is it that, like for something like Animal Crossing or Minecraft? I feel like that, like I don't know. I need more than just my imagination at the end of the day. Like I feel like I need like
exactly.
I need some sort of like roadmap. Like I need some sort of plan. Like okay, this is or like something a little more short term. Like like I guess you know I know you like you know we play Rocket League a lot. Like going up rank. Like that's something that is something that can be achieved, not necessarily will be, but like can be achieved a little more short term than some of the stuff that you might have to undertake in something like Minecraft or Animal Crossing. Like Animal Crossing's like end goal is like, oh, let me pimp out my island to the max, just at like the max level, you know. But it's like, where do I draw that line? Like, what is the end for me at that? And if that like in most cases that line is like 30 hours down the line, you know?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and then with Minecraft, it's just like, oh, let me build like a castle, and then you build it, but it's like, what was the point? Like
Exactly. It's not like you can really do anything with it. What do you do? Blow it up at the end? Like,
yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like I totally get it. I especially think it's a great place for like younger kids to like really express their creativity. I think it's a great tool set for that, but as a game, it just never clicked with me. It's something I, at the end of the day, yeah, I appreciate more than I enjoy it.
yeah, I think it's more of a platform than anything.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Roblox or
yeah,
like
literally.
platforms.
But like
But
I've heard like Roblox, like that's another thing where I feel like Roblox probably does that concept but better because um like Roblox you can legit like make your own games in them, you know? Like like
right,
Roblox
right.
Roblox is actually crazy. Like Roblox is a publicly traded company now. Like which is
I
insane.
know.
Like Roblox
And
is
it does
actually
well.
huge.
Yeah, their
Yeah, like
stock does well.
there's this like secret underworld of like millions of people, millions of young kids that play Roblox, and Roblox is like huge. Like it's
Yeah,
insane.
I've heard of like every kid I've talked to likes Roblox because you can run it off of like, I'm pretty sure you run
Anything?
it through a browser. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. Like Roblox is that's another thing that kind of just goes over my head at this point. I feel like a boomer when I think about
Yeah,
it.
I've never even touched Roblox. I don't get the hype. Never been in it, but yeah, Minecraft was number 5 for me for uh top overrated things. Uh Avatar we already talked about was number 4. Number 3, you may have guessed this, Ursel. This is a hot take for a lot of people, but I think that Game of Thrones, the TV show, is so massively overrated. And I would almost actually put that at number 1. I put Super Mario Odyssey at number 1, but I feel like those are interchangeable. Game of Thrones is, for me, objectively bad. I don't think it's that good at all, dude. Like, it's just so, the first season or 2 were very interesting, you know, with Joffrey, right? The evil king that took over after he killed Ned Stark or ordered Ned Stark to be killed.
Yeah.
Those seasons were great. And, you know, seeing the dragons from Daenerys, like seeing that develop, it was great. And then there's like 6 seasons of nothing. It's like seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, nothing is happening. They're like half of the runtime, they're staring at an ice wall. It's just bonkers. It's absolutely stupid. And then like you're hyped up for this big old fight at the end, and it was great. I thought the fight at the end was amazing, and what they were able to pull off with a television show is something that a lot of movies can't do.
Are you talking about the
But
fight with like the Ice King at the end?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. But the way that they ended everything, it was just disgusting. They kill big spoilers if you care about Game of Thrones, but they kill off Daenerys Stormborn. They make her seem like a terrible person, even though you're led to believe the entire time that like she is basically the chosen one to like make the
Yeah.
world right again. But it turns out that's not the case. The dude that's supposed to make the world right again is a guy that was carried on someone's back throughout the entire series. And it's not even the story either that I hate. Like I don't hate it. I think Game of Thrones as a whole is like a 7 out of 10. The story for me is silly, and they make a lot of strange story decisions, but the biggest thing for me is just like the amount of episodes where nothing happens. Literally nothing. Like they could have shortened this to 5 seasons, cut out all the BS, and it probably would have been like the greatest show of all time, or one of the greatest shows of all time, even with how they ended it. But there's just so much filler bullshit that no one cares about. Like, basically everything with Baelish, as much as I love to make fun of Baelish, like, yeah, he had a big part in the story, but like the amount of focus on him and like killing his like his wife at one point, like, or his potential wife, like,
Oh yeah.
or was it his aunt? I don't even remember. But just Game of Thrones for me is massively overhyped. People think it's the greatest thing since Breaking Bad or the greatest thing since sliced bread. And for me, it's just boobs. It's boobs and fighting. And that's all it is.
Oh my God. Well, I guess we're opening this rabbit hole. So like, yeah, 'cause I don't think we've talked about Game of Thrones like properly. So this is my, I guess, take on Game of Thrones, and because I don't think it's overrated. I okay, let me just lay out my like thoughts on it, and then we can kind of go from there. So I, for the most part, think seasons 1 through 6 of Game of Thrones is like amazing, like fantastic, like like I wouldn't agree with the sentiment that nothing happens, because I feel like just getting to know the characters is something happening. But but like and specifically like the first 6 seasons in particular are, or like the first 5 seasons, but are based off of the books. So like, and for the most part, they're pretty accurate and they're following the storyline of the books. I think I can see where what you're talking about in terms of like things aren't happening, because there's literally so many plot lines that they're jumping between, that it's like you'll go an episode and like there'll be like 5 minutes of something that happens with Daenerys, like, and then it's like, like who's that guy that got tortured all the time? Why am I forgetting his name?
Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah, like he's literally like he's like in that basement getting tortured for like a whole season. And
yeah, and that's half the episodes.
Yeah, like and it is interesting when you say it, and I was actually thinking about this when I was watching it, is if you take all of these characters' individual stories, not much is happening season by season with these characters' individual arcs, but there's a lot going, like, but what is happening is like it's not just one, it's like 6 to like 8 different storylines happening at the same time, and that they're juggling between.
Right.
I specifically love like seasons 4 and 6. I think that season 4 is like amazing because it really like showcases Tyrion, and like that whole thing going on with his trial, and like, like where he has the Mandalorian literally fight for his honor, and like I thought that was my favorite season, and I would like say that season 4 of Game of Thrones is like probably my favorite season of television besides Breaking Bad's 5th season. I actually love it that much. But
wow.
And then I do love season 6 as well. But then yeah, after season 6, season 7 and 8 really take a downhill tumble in terms of quality. And it's very jarring too, because like you said, John, like the first 6 seasons are very methodically paced and slower paced, and then season 7 and 8 are very fast paced.
Yeah,
that it's just kind of feels like whiplash. And I'm gonna disagree with like one specific thing that you said, that the show should have been shorter, because I actually think that to do that full story justice, I almost feel like the show could have probably been 10 seasons, and it would have probably done the plot points that they were setting up in those last 2 seasons justice. Like, I don't think it's a good idea to introduce a new villain like 2 episodes before the end of your 8-season show. That like
right.
with Daenerys. And it's not, and like what I tell people, and this is like what I tell people a lot for these sort of things, like it's like The Last Jedi. I don't have a problem with what they did. I have a problem with how they did it. Like, because
Yeah,
it's specifically with Game of Thrones situation, like, there's so much careful build up to everything happening in the first 6 seasons, and then season 7 and 8, it's like, oh, let me put everything in like times like 5 speed, and like there's just not enough build up for anything that's happening. Like they showed that Daenerys is going crazy because she didn't do her hair 2 episodes before. Like, are you kidding me? And it's kind of funny, John, you're talking about that final battle you really liked. I actually liked it too. But when it first came out on television, there's a lot of like people upset with that final fight because and they had to fix it afterwards. But when so it's fine for when you and me watched it, but when it was on TV for people, the episode was so dark that people literally couldn't see anything. Like the screen was like almost black. Like,
what the hell?
like, because I mean, like, if you remember that fight, I mean, it is like during the night and it is pretty dark, but like I could see everything.
Yeah,
I
same.
think, but like people literally are saying like, dude, I cannot see anything. Like it's like just, it's complete nonsense. Like I literally cannot see anything that's happening on screen because it's so dark, which is like,
And see, I was actually going to mention as a direct rebuttal to you saying that it could have been longer. It could have been longer, yes, if they wanted to make Daenerys a bad character or a villain, but I think that was a bad choice, personally. But anyway, not only that, but like there were so many storylines. Like you said, there's 6 to 8 storylines going on at once, but like I only cared about like 2 or 3 of them. I just didn't care.
Mhm.
Like for me, I thought Jon Snow was stupid. I thought that like he actually, his whole storyline and how he's supposed to be this big badass, I think he was the exact opposite. I think the most interesting character was probably oh
the
gosh.
crow.
They always refer to her as the Stark girl. There's 2 of them, but it's the no face stuff.
Why am I forgetting her name too? Oh my god!
Right? She kills Baelish.
Yeah. What is her? Oh my gosh! Hold up. The Starks. I'm looking this up. It's gonna bother me.
No,
I know one is Sansa, obviously, because we joke about that all the time. Of course, I look it up and it doesn't show me the. Okay. Here we go. Arya.
Arya.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was awesome.
She was great. She was way more badass than Jon Snow. I didn't care about Theon. Like, did Theon really have any real importance at the end? He was focused on, like, I thought he would be one of the main characters.
It's one of those things,
but he was pointless.
It's funny because I agree with you, but it's also one of those things where when you're watching the show, I guess, it's like it's kind of like the hype was like, like because everyone was watching it as it was coming out, so they were like invested in it, because there's all this build up and stuff. But yeah, you're right, like a lot of it does kind of lead to nothing, and it's like in retrospect it is like like I think it was a well-made show, but it's kind of like at the end of the day, like a lot of how it ended kind of soured it, I think, for not just me but for a lot of people. Like specifically I think like Jon Snow's arc, I feel like it was leading up to being something super epic and badass, and then it never does.
It's the fight with Ramsay, and that's, I mean, for me that was meh.
Yeah, and like and even after, well, like to me, like the most badass part, and this is actually one of my favorite shots in the whole show, is like when that flashback where they like they show the baby, and like because they're trying to figure out who like the child is or something, like of the Targaryens and the Starks, because like Lyanna Stark, the like Ned's sister, I think, that died whatever before the show started, and they show that flashback of the baby, and then like just shows the baby's face, and then it shows Jon Snow. Yeah, and I'm like, oh shit, like he's gonna be the king, like he's like he could actually take the throne.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I remember being like, oh dude, this could be so like, oh, this could be awesome. Like I would like he's gonna turn into this badass like the last few seasons, and like he's gonna take the throne actually, like that's what they're building up towards. And then no, like they introduced that whole plot line and it doesn't mean anything. Like at the end of the day.
Exactly. exactly. And it was such an integral part of the story until the end. And I think that might be maybe my main complaint is how it ended and how it just kind of disserviced the rest of
everything
the
before
show.
it. Yeah. And that's, I mean, look, this whole show's a rabbit hole that we could go down. And I mean, like, for the sake of time, like, we should probably keep it going. But yeah, no, that last, I could go on like a 30-40 minute rant about how bad that last, specifically those last two
the last episodes.
So yeah. Like, and I'll just end it off on this. Like, I thought honestly 7 to 8, it was a drop in quality, but I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. And then the second to last episode ended, and I was literally looked over at Tana, and I was like, there's nothing they can do. There's literally nothing they can do. They have one episode left, and they introduced this plot thread. There's nothing, like, with Daenerys going crazy. There's nothing they can do to like fix it. Like, the show's done. There's one episode left. There's literally one episode left. Like what it'd be like, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know what to compare it to. It'd be like, I don't know, like bringing in
them
like,
killing Jesse and Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
at the end.
Like it's like, what if they introduced like Gus, like like in the second to last episode? Like, I don't know.
Gus Fring 2 episodes before the end.
Yeah, like, just so silly. But either way, no, I definitely get the sentiment. And to me, it's more like I get where the hype came from at the time, and I think it is a well-made show for 6 out of the 8 seasons. It just ends very poorly. So no, I do get where you're coming from, though, even though if I don't 100% agree. But yeah, what's your second choice? Your number 2, I guess.
My number 2 and the final one to talk about, since Odyssey was number 1, is a movie franchise that is over, and it's got 8 movies. Can you guess it?
8 movies? Oh, wait. Harry Potter?
Yes. It was Harry Potter. Yes, absolutely. So
I was thinking about putting that, actually.
And the reason being, the books are great. I mean, I read the books when I was growing up. I had all of them. I read them between 3rd and 4th grade, and I really enjoyed them. And I thought the first few movies were really well done and like stuck to the script of the book really well. Like Chamber of Secrets, Sorcerer's Stone, those were both really good. I even really like Goblet of Fire, but after this, it just goes downhill. Like, Order of the Phoenix is terrible, number 5. They like, not only is the book kind of bad, but like the entire point of the story is that Voldemort's only fear is Dumbledore, and they didn't even portray that very well in the movie. Like, it was just the 5th movie was gobbledygook. If I'm being a boomer here.
Also, like, kind of just jumping in, I also felt like starting with the Order of the Phoenix, it started becoming harder to understand what the story was about if you're like a casual viewer. But keep going.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, like, you definitely can't jump in at any point, which makes sense. But like, Order of the Phoenix is just it's jumbled up. It's a jumbled up mess. It's actually Casey's one of her favorite movies, but I think it's a mess. Half-Blood Prince was not done well.
Okay, speaking of nothing happening, nothing happens in Half-Blood Prince except the last like 10 minutes.
Dude, half the plot of the movie is like one chapter of the book. The shit with Ron at the beginning, where Ron's getting attacked at his house, that was like a chapter or 2, and they made it half the movie.
The most exciting part of the movie, where they like burn the cornfields outside of Ron's house and stuff, like, I heard that's not even in the book.
If I remember right, it was like 2 chapters.
Yeah.
and if it's not in the book, that might be right. I mean, it's been 15 years, I guess. Damn, I'm old since I read these.
Damn.
But and then separating the Deathly Hallows into two movies, like I get it. There was that trend from, well, no, they started the trend.
They started it.
Yeah, they started that trend, and there was no reason for it. You shortened 3 books that were longer than the last book. You shortened the movies for those, but you made a 2-parter out of Deathly Hallows, and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is stupid because they don't do anything. They need to get the Horcruxes, the 7 of them, to be able to, like, I guess, fight Voldemort properly, and they don't get any of them in the first movie. It's like a big ball tease, especially like when you see it in theaters. The first one, it was a huge ball tease, and then having to wait a year and a half for the next one. And just not to mention that the fandom behind Harry Potter, I think, is overhyped. It's just overhyped. Like, there are people that get tattoos of Harry Potter symbols, and for me, like, it's just it's a good universe. It's a cool universe. It's, for me, it's kind of like Star Wars. Your comparison with Star Wars, where like the lore and everything behind it is really good, but at the end of the day, it's just teenagers falling in love, and they have this big thing looming over them, and it's Voldemort. It's, at the end of the day, Harry Potter is kind of generic. And
I do want to ask, what's your favorite one?
It's funny because my favorite is probably Goblet of Fire, even though a lot of people don't like that one.
Yeah, I would say my favorite is Goblet of Fire or Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, and the first couple are so good. It just seems so accurate to the book, and those are shorter books. But like, once it gets into the longer books, I feel like just the director had a hard time, deciding what's important and deciding what to include, because the books are amazing and I think they're very fleshed out. But I think the movies and the way they were interpreted and put on screen, some of it made the story seem a little bit more generic than it actually was. And there were certain things that weren't focused in on enough. And I know I'm going to be, hung up in the town square for this one, but I think it's overhyped. I like Harry Potter. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Great. I mean, great even. Some of the movies are great. But for it to get as much hype as it does and to have theme parks based around it, I think it's overhyped.
Yeah. And I guess I'll just put a quick bow on that too. Is like, I know I agree 100% like with exactly what you're saying. It's the same thing as a Star Wars situation. Like, the lore is a lot more interesting than the stories that inhibit that world.
Exactly.
Like, I think the lore is super cool. Like, this wizarding school, like, like, I've like daydreamed about, like, oh, like, what if I was like at Hogwarts? Like, it'd be the coolest thing ever.
Right.
Like, but the actual stories, I just felt like I feel like they never really grabbed my attention as much as they could have. And yeah, like I mean, I like the movies, but I don't think they're like greatest of all time, like some people try to make them out to be.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of telling because, like, I was never a big Harry Potter fan. I only like, I enjoyed them, I respected them, but I wasn't a huge fan of them. But because I am so interested in the lore in that world, I'm actually pretty hyped for like the Harry Potter video game, like the Hogwarts game that's coming out.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's like that's gonna like fulfill my fantasy with that world. Like, oh, like I can actually like run around with my friends at Hogwarts. Like, that's gonna be awesome.
Exactly,
Like,
dude.
if they do it
do it well.
Yeah, like that would be awesome. But yeah, like pretty much same thing as Star Wars. Like, the lore is so much more interesting than the stories that exist in it. And but I will say, funny enough, the one that I've heard is like actually one of the best, but I remember watching it and not really thinking much of it, was Prisoner of Azkaban. And I've like always wanted to go back and specifically watch that one. Also,
I watched it again recently, actually, and it's really good. I think the first half is good. 1, 2, 3, 4. are good, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7 part 2 are meh.
Yeah, no, I'm in that same boat. I think the first half is definitely stronger than the second half.
Yeah. But
yeah.
to kind of wrap it up, I mean, I did have a couple of honorable mentions that were mentioned already. Gran Turismo, I think, is highly overrated. Forza is much better. And also Overwatch, except we won't even get into that. I haven't played it enough to actually for sure say. I just think that there are cheaper games that are the same thing. But I'm not going to get into that rabbit hole too much because I really haven't played Overwatch. I just thought it would be kind of funny to mention because a lot of people like it and I don't. But that will pretty much wrap things up for us. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you enjoy these podcasts, again, please rate, share with your friends, and don't forget to share on social media. Definitely give us your top 5 most overrated in the comments of Instagram posts or our tweets. Let us know what you think about our picks. But this is John signing off. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And Ursel, did you want to say something quick?
Yeah, thanks for the support, really, and yeah, everything that John said. So thank you, guys. That's me signing off. We'll be back next week.
See you next week, guys.